What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video for the New York Giants. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out. Training camp dates have been released, but we are still in the dead time of the NFL offseason, so would appreciate a share out and any type of communication to get this out to more people. The channel, the video series, the video, again, much appreciated. Thank you. So how I do these roster bubble videos, profiles, whatever you want to call them, is as I take a player on the roster bubble on the cusp of being cut. I break them down into a background, competition. I go into how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and then a prediction at the end. So today's profile is Jashaun Corbin. Corbin, the last year with the Giants has been on the practice squad, and even before then, he was signed as a UDFA out of Florida State. Going back to his college days, Corbin had 2 years at Texas A&M, a total of 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Did not get a lot of playing time there, so he transferred in the COVID year to the ACC, Florida State. In 2020, 81 rushes for 401 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry. And then even more the next year, 2021, with Florida State, 143 rushes, 887 yards in 12 games, 7 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per carry, and also got some more action in the receiving game. 25 receptions for 144 yards, 5.8 yards per reception, and a touchdown. So he had about 1,031 yards from scrimmage, which is good considering, yeah, he's an undrafted free agent. And then also because this is going to come in handy as well. With Florida State and Texas A&M and all that sort of good stuff in college. In 2021 with Florida State, he had 7 kick returns for 128 yards, 18.3 yards per return. Not much in 2019 with Texas A&M and in 2020 with Florida State, but in his rookie year with Texas A&M, he had 14 returns for 422 yards and 1 touchdown. So there's a note of that. And last preseason for Jashaun Corbin, just in total with the stats, he had 21 carries for 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's about 3.5 yards per carry, which he could do better. 14 receptions, 76 yards, 5.4 yards per reception, which is about average considering what he did in college. And 4 kick returns for 94 yards. I believe his longest was like a 35-yard kick return against the Patriots, plus a face mask at the end, which launched the Giants 15 more yards down the field, about 23.5 yards per kick return. So let's go into his competition. It's really 2 areas. It's the running back room for the Giants, and it is also, as well, the kick return room as what it projects to be like. Now, Gary Brightwell, obviously, we talked about him in another video. It's both sectors here. As a running back, Brightwell, 6th-round pick from a couple of years ago, and Jashaun Corbin, undrafted free agent. So they're going to be competing. And Corbin's also going to be competing with Matt Breida because Breida is a vet. He's got super familiarity with this coaching staff, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, etc., etc. Jalen Hyatt is a kick returner. Personally, I don't think they're going to be putting Hyatt out there as much as people think, but we'll see what happens. I'd rather not because he is a 3rd-round rookie, and I don't really want to put someone who has starting potential in that spot. And also Jaden Mickens as well. He had some kick and punt returns with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the course of his career. And I believe he's almost 30 years old, which was my surprise when I was doing his profile, or at least trying to write his profile down for a video we're going to do in the future, hint, hint. But he's about 30 years old, so it surprises me. But he's been around, done a couple of stints with the Bucs, with the Jaguars, with the Raiders too. So he's been around. But anyway, when you take a look at how he could win a roster spot, stay healthy. That's one of the biggest ones that we usually address every single video. Get more yards per carry. Obviously, looking at the stats, now he had 1 or 2 big runs in the preseason, and the stats honestly don't tell that story. 3.5 yards per carry is not going to get it done. I don't know what the Giants are going to look for in that other running back that they need. Eric Gray obviously is an immediate roster make it. You know, he's going to be on the roster. Saquon Barkley we hope at this point is going to be a part of the New York Giants in 2023. I think he will be, so I'm just going to leave it as that. And then Matt Breida, who I think possibly is going to make the roster. I think he's got a good chance. He's kind of that power back that can also have speed and, obviously catch some passes out of the backfield. So that's kind of what Jashaun Corbin is competing with, but he's got to get more yards per carry. He's got to go off for more burst runs. He's a thin dude. I mean, he had a great run. If you guys remember in 2021 against Notre Dame, my favorite college football team, 91 yards. I mean, he just ran down the field really, really fast. So it's not like he's going to make people miss a ton, but he's got some bursts. If he's out of a cannon, he runs out of a cannon. If you have a good hole open for him, good luck tackling him at the next level. Not that he's elusive or anything, but as I said, he's got some very good speed. Catches many passes out of the backfield, being a quarterback's best friend, not just protecting him, but also catching passes out of the backfield. He did that a ton last preseason, 14 receptions, 76 yards, 5.4 yards per reception. I think it was like 5 receptions about in every single game. So he was catching passes from Daniel Jones. He was catching passes from Davis Webb. He was catching passes from Tyrod Taylor. So, that's one thing going into camp that he actually has over some of these other guys is he's got a rapport with all 3 quarterbacks. I remember he was playing with Daniel Jones in the Bengals game. He was playing with Tyrod in the Patriots game. He was also playing with Davis Webb in the Jets game. So there's that. And make most of the kick returns. 23.5 yards per return. You compare that to Gary Brightwell last year, stats-wise, Brightwell had 21.3 yards per return. So if the Giants view 2 more yards as a big upgrade, I think that could be big heading into camp and heading into the preseason and heading into decision-making for the roster for Jashaun Corbin. If they want to have an extra running back on the roster, they need a good reason why. And listen, if this guy has some fire and some burst on the kick returns, then you know what? You got to keep him, because if you can have this guy on kick returns and not have to worry about putting a Dory Jackson, Darnay Holmes, or Jalen Hyatt back there, I mean, you could save a roster spot for that type of guy. How can he lose? Falls out of favor. Obviously, right now, there are odds stacked against him. There's no joke in that. Saquon Barkley is number 1, whether, you consider him a part of this team or not. You got Matt Breida at 2, arguably. You also got Eric Gray, the rookie out of Oklahoma, the 5th-round pick. So that's 3 already. You got to give the Giants an extra reason to carry another running back. And I think Corbin has some traits that Brightwell doesn't have. Brightwell has some traits that Corbin doesn't have. It's going to be a really interesting competition heading into camp and seeing in these preseason games. Once again, I think it all comes down to the Giants having an extra reason to keep another running back, but falling out of favor, not making the most of the kick returns, dropping passes out of the backfield. I know he dropped a pass, I think it was against the Patriots towards the end of the half, so it didn't really mean anything, but I remember just the key drop where it was a pass thrown from Tyrod Taylor. He didn't really fumble in the preseason games, which obviously would have worked to his advantage had Breida not been on the roster, had Brightwell not been, as good as he was, because he actually showed out. And also Antonio Williams was a part of that competition last year. He did not make the roster, to many surprise. But how can he win, stay healthy, get more yards per carry? If he doesn't get more yards per carry, I mean, there's not going to be a way that he makes the roster. You can talk about kick returning and stuff like that, but if you don't offer, if you're a running back and you're good at kick returning and all this other stuff, but you're not good in the backfield, the Giants really don't have a reason to keep you, or any other NFL team for that matter. So catch as many passes out of the backfield, make most of the kick returns. How can you lose? Falls out of favor, drop passes, fumbles, doesn't make most of the returns, doesn't make the most of his returns. And that's pretty much that. I have him getting cut, unfortunately. I think he does return to the Giants on the practice squad, depending on what he gives in terms of effort and production to the New York Giants in the preseason. Because obviously last year was good enough with decent stats and yards per carry and yards per reception. He had a nice kick return, as I mentioned, against the New England Patriots, about 35 yards. So if he gives the Giants a dose of that and a little bit more, I think he does stay with the team on the practice squad. I think the running back room right now is too crowded. If Saquon Barkley, for some reason, does not sign by training camp or, kind of holds out in the preseason period as well, I think you may see a roster spot open up for either Brightwell or Corbin, but I think Corbin's getting cut, unfortunately. Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops to your jobs. Appreciate y'all coming back. We're doing one of these every single day until the middle of training camp, and more Giants coverage. A lot more things coming through for you guys, so stay tuned. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.